Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about some plyometric training progressions. I was asked by students specifically if I could kind of review the progressions and maybe how to kind of memorize the progressions and how it makes sense to do the progressions the way NASM speaks to it. Now, we are in chapter 18. This is the plyometric or reactive training concepts page 578 gives you some basic guidelines. And what I would say is don't be intimidated by plyometric training with average clients. You can do very basic plyometric training with specific clients. Now, more fit clients are generally, better prepared because they're more fit to deal with plyometric training. But one of the issues that we face is that if you're not well versed in what plyometric training is, it's going to seem very monolithic to you, meaning there's only one way to do it. I've got to jump from a high box down onto the ground, and that's plyometric training because that's generally how you have seen it. But plyometric training is way more than that, which is why, over the years, we have found as trainers, we can incorporate plyometric training in a way that's actually relatively safe for the right type of client for pretty much every level of training client that we have. And the issue really comes down to the level of intensity that you're going to, sort of expose your clients to. And that's why it's important. The reason I say this is because from the get-go, on page 578, NASM explains to you why you can do this with pretty much any client, as long as there's no, orthopedic issues, joint issues that just the very fact of jumping off the ground is going to cause problems with their ankles. And of course, if an individual, has obesity or has overweight, it might be, prudent not to do movements that are going to have sort of this ballistic, the ballistic nature on their ankles, just as a for instance. So you wouldn't do it with them anyway. But average clients where maybe they jog or they run and they don't have any issues, knee issues or ankle issues, but they're just not fit, right? You may be able to do it with them. And again, let me get back to this. So on page 578 in chapter 18, what NASM says is when introducing, it's at the bottom of the page below the table, plyometric training progressions, when introducing plyometric exercises, especially to new or beginner clients, yay, bravo, they got that right. The movement should initially involve what? Small, medium, large, uber jumps. Well, of course, it's small jumps, lower amplitude to best learn the movement pattern. Stop. That's why what I'm saying is that, yes, even Joe, who's 55 years old, but he's not overweight. He's just never worked out, or he hasn't worked out in 35 years. He's a new client. You start acclimating him, right? And it could be a woman of the same age group. Again, doesn't matter what age, but they've never worked out or it's been a while. You can actually get them after you transition them through some of the different levels of training, right? That you would be moving them through, even though they're not super fit. You can have them do little hops and jumps. That's kind of the idea. Have them learn the basic movement patterns. It's now up to you as the trainer to make the determination as to how you're going to sort of sequence them through these progressions. I just kind of wanted to throw that out first to kind of let you know that, yes, you can do it with just about anybody. I can't do them because my ankles hurt when I walk for too long. So please don't have me do them. Don't say, hey, Doug, let's do some plyometrics. No, that was 40 years ago, 45 years ago, I did them all the time. Today, I can't do them. Not because I can't do the movement patterns. It's because if I try and get a vertical, as soon as I land, it hurts the ankles. Don't do them with me, but do them with the other clients over here that when they jump and land, it doesn't hurt their ankles, just as a for instance, or their knees. So But the point of this video is to talk about the training progression. So as you continue down that paragraph, let's see, example exercises using this protocol. This is this initial protocol. They're going to start with the squat jump with stabilization. Keep in mind that all of these exercises that are listed here, box jump with stabilization, box jump up with stabilization, box jump down with stabilization, multiplanar jump with stabilization. You got their pictures right here. Okay. So 579 all the way through squat jump all the way to, yes, you got it all the way down to 587. By the way, 588 is the end of it, and that's the end of the chapter, by the way. Do yourself a big favor. Just look at these, get an idea, because they generally give you 3 sequential pictures of these individuals doing these exercises. And so it's a good idea to look at the squat jump with stabilization and go right over and read the technique part. So generally, the way you're going to memorize plyometric progressions, the first progression always has what word? What word did you hear in those 4 exercises? What word did you hear in all 4 of those? Stabilization. That's how you know that the initial protocol for any plyometric training routine that you're going to do is going to be blah, blah with stabilization. I hope that makes sense. That's why it's easy to remember. So squat jump with stabilization. Box jump up with, you get the idea? So those 4 have the words with stabilization in them. The next progression involves jumps with more amplitude and dynamic motion. Watch this. Some example exercise using this protocol include, but are not limited to, the following. Guess what word you're not going to have in this next progression? That's right, stabilization. Okay. It's just the squat jump, the tuck jump, the butt kick, and the power step up. So the point here is that when memorizing these sequences, the first protocol with plyometric training, according to NASM, is going to be these 4 movements with stabilization. And that's what you're looking at here. So basically, whatever jump you're doing, however jump you're doing, you're stopping. Stabilization so that you don't fall over, basically, is what this is about, so that you can hold pause. Do it again. Boom, stabilization. Whereas with the squat jump, tuck jump, butt kick, power step up, you're adding more amplitude. In other words, you're jumping higher. You're putting more effort into doing. The speed of the jump is also progress. In other words, they are designed to improve dynamic joint stabilization, yada, yada, yada. You can read that. In other words, the client will no longer hold the landing position. That's what with stabilization means. You hit, boom, and you hold it for a couple of seconds. Make sure everything's good. Yeah, everybody good? Okay, great. Do it again. Boom, box jump with stabilization. Second sequence, you're not resting anymore. You don't need the stabilization part of it. Okay, you already did that in the first sequence. So now the client will no longer hold a landing position for 3 to 5 seconds, but instead initiate another jump upon landing using a moderate tempo, repeating tempo. Normally, when you would see athletes, I'm talking years ago, when you would see plyometric training, you would see guys, they get onto a box, boop, bump, and jump up. Get back on, whoop, jump down, boom, plyometric, jump up right from that. As soon as they hit the ground, boom, they jump up. Okay. What NASM is saying is that, well, not necessarily. You could do squat jump, and as soon as you land, you hold. Jump up from a box, jump down and hold. Something like that, right? That's with stabilization. Here, you're squat jumping, and as soon as you land, you're jumping up again, and you're just got a moderate tempo, and that's what that second sequence does. The last progression includes exercises that involve explosive, powerful movements. Here you have ice skaters or skate jumps, single leg power step up, which is different than the power step up, and proprioceptive plyometrics and the depth jump. So That's it. I mean, if you can memorize that, close your book and see if you can remember. Sequence one, protocol one with stabilization, progression, next level progression without stabilization, rhythmic movements, whatever those exercises are. Third is going to be more of this powered dynamic type of movements where you're doing ice skaters, and this would be questions on the exam. So ice skaters, single leg power step ups, things like that. And that would be the last or the third sequence. I hope this was helpful. If you do have questions, let us know. If this helped you and made sense, write the word understand in the comments section below. Remember, if you have not done so, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Click the like button. That always helps. You can also share it if you want. Nothing wrong with doing that. And just let us know how we can be of assistance to you. Have a great week. We will see you next week.